Washington's offense went nuclear in a 23-4 demolition of the Athletics, while Boston kept rolling with a doubleheader sweep of Tampa Bay to push their win streak to 10 straight. The rest of the open a double was with a but the rest handed it over and a bounce into a dumb start and Jake Bennett, who fights a shot an inch of 3 strikes to the win. Carlos Narvaez led the charge at the plate, going 3 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBI, while Masataka Yoshida added his own long ball and went 3 for 5 with an RBI. Caleb Durbin chipped in a 3 for 4 day with an RBI as Boston's lineup put together hit after hit up and down the order. Seth and Rafaela swiped a bag to keep the pressure on all afternoon, and Alec Gamboa closed things out with a 3-inning save to preserve the shutout. Tampa Bay never found an answer, managing just a scattered handful of singles against Boston's pitching staff. The win kept Boston's win streak building toward double digits as they prepared to close out the day with a nightcap against the same Rays club, and it was the kind of statement victory that put the rest of the American League on notice. Boston completed a doubleheader sweep of Tampa Bay, holding on for a 5-3 win in the nightcap behind a 2-homer game from Wilyer Abreu, a performance that stood out on the day's fantasy radar. Wilson Contreras also went deep for the Red Sox, while Junior Caminero answered for the Rays with a solo shot of his own. Greg Weissert worked a scoreless 2/3 of an inning to pick up the win, and Aroldis Chapman slammed the door with a perfect ninth for the save. The victory was Boston's second of the day and pushed their win streak to 10 straight games, one of the hottest runs in baseball right now. Tampa Bay got hits from Caminero, Johnny DeLuca, Ben Williamson, Cedric Mullins, and Taylor Walls, but it wasn't enough to overcome Abreu's power display. With the sweep, Boston sent a clear message that they are peaking at the right time, riding a stretch of dominant baseball into the heart of the summer. The Dodgers edged the Yankees 2-1 in a tightly pitched affair at Yankee Stadium, with Max Muncy's solo home run proving to be the difference. Jarrett Cole was brilliant for New York, striking out 8 over 6 innings, but he came up on the wrong side of the ledger as Los Angeles bullpen shut the door. Jack Dreher picked up the win with 1.1 scoreless innings, and Tanner Scott closed it out with a clean ninth for the save. Ben Rice had a hit for the Yankees in the loss, extending his hitting streak to 12 straight games, one of the longer active streaks in the league right now. Kyle Tucker, Tommy Edman, Teoscar Hernandez, and Andy Pages all had a hit for the Dodgers, while Cody Bellinger, Jason Dominguez, Ben Rice, and Jazz Kishom Jr. kept the Yankees within striking distance all night. Ultimately, New York couldn't push across the tying run, and Los Angeles escaped the Bronx with a hard-fought, low-scoring win. Atlanta put on an offensive clinic, crushing Texas 15-1 behind home runs from Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, and Austin Riley. Baldwin was the headliner, going 3 for 4 with 5 RBI to power the rout, while Chris Sale was dominant on the mound, tossing 7 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts to earn the win. The Braves lineup was relentless from top to bottom, with contributions from Michael Harris, Roman II, Jorge Mateo, Mauricio Dubon, Ozzy Albies, and more, all reaching base safely. Texas managed just a single run and had trouble solving Atlanta's pitching all night, with Nicky Lopez, Justin Foscue, Brandon Nimmo, Elias Diaz, and Cam Cauley combining for the Rangers' limited offense. It was a complete team performance for Atlanta, who got it done with power, pitching, and depth in a game that was effectively over by the middle innings. The lopsided score made this one of the most decisive results of the night across all of baseball. The White Sox stormed into Toronto and put up 12 runs on the Blue Jays in a 12-4 win that saw the long ball fly on both sides. Sam Antonacci went deep for Chicago, while George Springer, Luis Urias, and Brandon Valenzuela all homered for a Toronto team that simply couldn't keep pace. Tyler Schweitzer picked up the win for the White Sox with 3 solid innings and 3 strikeouts, and Braden Montgomery added a stolen base to the mix. Chicago's offense was deep all night, with Tristan Pierce, Munetaka Murakami, Kyle Teal, Chase Maydroth, Colson Montgomery, Andrew Benintendi, and Miguel Vargas all recording hits. Toronto got production from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Alejandro Kirk, and Ernie Clements to go with their 3 home run hitters, but the pitching simply couldn't hold Chicago down. It turned into a slugfest that the White Sox controlled from wire to wire, backing up their power with more than enough length from the bullpen. Milwaukee held off Miami 2-1 in a tense, low-scoring battle decided by the long ball. Joey Ortiz provided the difference with a home run and also swiped a bag, while Griffin Canine answered for the Marlins with a solo shot of his own that wasn't enough to complete the comeback. Craig Yoho picked up the win for the Brewers with a scoreless inning of relief. Miami stayed in it thanks to stolen bases from Heriberto Hernandez and Xavier Edwards, and Ada Lopez, Javier Sonoja, Liam Hicks, and Kanine all chipped in hits for the Marlins offense. Christian Yelich, Garrett Mitchell, and Luis Lara had hits for Milwaukee as the Brewers found just enough offense to complement Ortiz's power. It was a game that came down to a handful of plays, and Milwaukee made the ones that mattered to escape with a one-run win over a scrappy Marlins club. Minnesota knocked off the Cubs 5-2 on the road behind a strong start from Bailey Ober, who worked 5.1 innings, allowed just 2 earned runs, and struck out 7 to pick up the win. Ryan Jeffers provided the power with a home run, and Yondris Gomez slammed the door with a 1-inning save. The Twins got extra pressure on the bases with a steal from Austin Martin, while Pete Crow Armstrong swiped a bag for the Cubs in the losing effort. Chicago got hits from Michael Conforto, Ian Happ, Michael Busch, Seiya Suzuki, and Nico Horner, but couldn't string together enough offense to match Minnesota's balanced attack, which also saw Brooks Lee, Josh Bell, Ryan Cradler, Trevor Larnach, and Luke Keesh reach base. It was a solid road win for the Twins, who got exactly what they needed from their rotation and bullpen to close it out. Baltimore stole a road win in Houston, edging the Astros 3-2 despite a dazzling pitching performance from Peter Lambert, who struck out 10 over 6 innings in a losing cause. Taylor Ward's home run proved decisive for the Orioles, and Cam Sanders worked 2/3 of an inning to pick up the win before Tyler Wells closed it out with a save. Kobe Mayo added a stolen base and a hit for Baltimore, while Adley Rutschman and Jackson Holliday also reached base safely. Houston got production from Isaac Paredes, Jeremy Pena, Lucas Spence, and Yordan Alvarez, but couldn't overcome Lambert's near masterpiece being wasted by a lack of run support. The Orioles' bullpen was airtight all night, holding a dangerous Astros lineup to just 2 runs despite the deficit in strikeouts. It was a tight, low-scoring affair that came down to one big swing, and Baltimore made the most of its opportunities to leave Houston with the win. Kansas City outlasted San Diego in a back-and-forth slugfest, winning 7-6 behind multi-hit games from Carter Jensen and Michael Massey, who each went 3 for 5 with 2 RBI. Lane Thomas homered for the Royals, while Ty France went deep for the Padres. Lucas Erceg picked up the win in relief despite allowing a run, and Kansas City got extra pressure on the bases from steals by Tyler Talbert and Vinny Pasquantino. San Diego didn't go quietly, with Miguel Andujar going 3 for 4 and Fernando Tatis Jr. going 3 for 5, while Xander Bogaerts also factored into the offense. It was a game full of momentum swings, with both lineups trading blows deep into the night before Kansas City's bullpen did just enough to close it out and hand the Padres a tough road loss. Cincinnati blew the game open in Colorado, topping the Rockies 7-2 behind a huge night from Elly De La Cruz, who went 4 for 5 with an RBI and a home run, and Spencer Steer, who blasted 2 homers of his own in a performance that stood out among the day's top fantasy lines. Eugenio Suarez also went deep for the Reds, and Brady Singer was excellent on the mound, working 7 innings, allowing just 2 earned runs and striking out 6 to pick up the win. Willie Castro answered for Colorado with a solo home run, and Jake McCarthy added a stolen base, but the Rockies simply couldn't keep pace with Cincinnati's power surge. The loss extended Colorado's losing streak to 5 straight games, a rough stretch that continued in front of the home crowd. Cincinnati's offense was clicking on all cylinders, and this one was well in hand by the middle innings. Detroit narrowly beat the Angels 2-1 behind a dominant start from Troy Melton, who struck out 9 over 5.2 innings, with Kader Montero coming on to pick up the win with 3.1 scoreless innings and 5 strikeouts of his own. The Tigers manufactured their offense on the bases, with steals from James Outman and Matt Vierling helping set up the go-ahead run. Los Angeles got hits from Jose Siri, Zach Neto, Mike Trout, and Vaughn Grissom, but couldn't find the big hit to break through against Detroit's bullpen. Hao-Yu Lee, Riley Green, Ben Mallory, Matt Vierling, and Dylan Dingler all reached base for the Tigers as they controlled the game from the mound throughout. Neither offense found much rhythm, but Detroit's pitching staff was sharp enough to make the 2 runs it had stand up, and it was a pitching-driven, low-scoring affair that Detroit closed out cleanly to leave Anaheim with a 1-run road win. Washington delivered the most lopsided result of the day, demolishing the Athletics 23-4 in a game that got out of hand early and never let up. Andrés Chaparro was the story of the night, blasting 2 home runs and driving in 8 runs while going 4 for 5 at the plate, one of the biggest fantasy performances anywhere in baseball today. Dalen Lyle and Harry Ford also went deep for the Nationals, while Curtis Mead went 4 for 6 with 3 RBI and Nasa Nunez chipped in a 3 for 6 effort with a stolen base. Cade Cavalli was outstanding on the mound for Washington, striking out 9 over 6 innings to pick up the win despite the game turning into a laugher, and Dylan Cruz added another stolen base for good measure. The Athletics got home runs from Tyler Soderstrom and Shea Langeliers and 8 strikeouts from Gage Jump over 3.2 innings, but nothing could slow down Washington's offensive onslaught. The loss extended Oakland's skid to 9 straight games, a brutal stretch that shows no signs of ending. This was a complete beatdown from start to finish, with Washington's lineup running roughshod over an overmatched Athletics pitching staff for 9 innings of relentless offense. Louis edged Arizona 5-4 in a back-and-forth game decided late, with home runs from J.J. Weatherholt for the Cardinals and Tim Tawa and Corbin Carroll for the Diamondbacks, providing plenty of thunder on both sides. Louis Gastelum worked an inning of relief to pick up the win despite allowing 2 earned runs, and Riley O'Brien nailed down the save for St. Louis. Arizona got a hit from Gabriel Moreno, who extended his hitting streak to 7 straight games in the loss. Ketel Marte, Ildemaro Vargas, and Max Kepler also reached base for the Diamondbacks, while Jordan Walker, Lars Nootbaar, Jose Furman, Alec Burleson, Masson Wynn, and Jimmy Crooks all factored into St. Louis offense. It was a game that swung several times before the Cardinals' bullpen made the final push count, sending Arizona to a tough 1-run home loss. San Francisco blanked Seattle 7-0 behind a dominant complete effort, with Landon Roop tossing 7 shutout innings and striking out 2 to pick up the win. Willie Adams and Bryce Eldridge both went deep for the Giants, and Yun-Hoo Lee went 3 for 4 to pace the offense. Casey Schmidt added a stolen base as San Francisco controlled every phase of the game. Seattle's offense never got going, managing hits from just Josh Naylor and Luke Riley across the entire lineup as the Mariners' bats went cold at home. Heliot Ramos, Drew Cavanaugh, and Luis Ariz also chipped in hits as San Francisco spread the damage throughout the lineup, making sure Seattle had no path back into the game. It was a dominant, wire-to-wire performance for the Giants, who never trailed and cruised to a shutout road win that highlighted the depth of their pitching staff and the power in the middle of their order. Details from the Pirates-Guardians matchup were not available at the time of this recap, with no final score, box score, or notable performances reported for this contest. Check back for an update once complete game data comes in for this Pittsburgh-Cleveland matchup. And Rice kept his quiet burn going, extending his hitting streak to 12 straight games for the Yankees even in a loss. Boston, meanwhile, is red hot, riding a 10-game win streak after sweeping their doubleheader with Tampa Bay. On the other end, the Athletics skid hit 9 straight losses following their blowout defeat to Washington, and in Arizona, Gabriel Moreno pushed his own hit streak to 7 games. Fantasy managers had plenty to like today. Will Abreu went deep twice for Boston, and Spencer Steer matched him with a 2-homer game of his own in Colorado. Andres Chaparro was the headliner, though, exploding for 2 home runs and 8 RBI in Washington's blowout win. Boston's lineup was loaded with streaming value too, as Caleb Durbin went 3 for 4 with an RBI and Carlos Narvaez posted a 3 for 4, 3 RBI day of his own in the same game. That's a wrap on today's action around the league. Hit subscribe so you never miss a recap.